there, June here. In this episode, I will be adding on to our texture system we have now, and I'll be making it so blocks like, let's say, our furnace here, each side can have a different texture. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so I have Unity over here. Let's just open my scripts folder and open my world. In my block type, when you set it, I want you to be able to set the texture of the block type. Let's just quickly make a thing called a header. I'll show you what it does in Unity Editor, because that's what it shows. Texture values. By the way, there's not necessary. You don't need to do this to do the course or run anything. It's not important, but it just keeps things more organized. Okay, so let's just make a couple of public integers. And I'm going to have one for every single different position of the texture, like back face, front face, top face, bottom face, and then left and right face. Make sure you do it in this order, by the way, because if we just go, I think our voxel data scripts, here it is, it's in the same order as there. So as you see, first we have the back, then the front, then the top, and so on and so forth. Okay. So now let's just make quickly a public int. Okay, it's going to be a public int, and it's going to be an int method. So int, this is going to be called get texture ID. Okay, open close brackets, enter, and there we go. In here, I'm going to do a switch case, but first let's make an integer. So it needs an int to work. It's going to be face index. Okay, in here I'm going to write a switch. Okay, so switch, open close bracket, switch. By the way, you can replace it with an if statement if you like, but switch is just shorter and simpler to understand. So switch face index. Okay, and the first case is that it's equal to 0. So if face index is equal to 0, then it will go return back face texture. Okay, and then so on and so forth, all the way to 6, because, well, there's 6 faces in the cube. So let's just duplicate those. Okay, 4, 5, and 6. And let's just change them. Let's do it in the same order. Front face texture, top face texture, bottom face, left and right. And right. There we go. And also you need a default. Basically a default for a switch case is like an if statement for else, where case is if else, and this would be if, case would be if else, if else, if else, and if none of those true, then it'll run the else, which is the default in this case. I'll just make it run a little debug. You don't need to do that, but it's just so you know. Okay, debug, and then we'll return something which will be 0. And there we go. And before we jump into Unity to set these values, I just got a little problem. I accidentally made these all 0, so let's just make them different values all the way to 4, 5. Okay, so see here the errors, and they're all gone. If we go to our world now, we can just set this. Let's just make a few blocks quick. Let's make the first block, just say a few blocks. Okay, let's have bedrock. Bedrock is going to be 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, and 9. So projects and textures, bedrock would be over here, and if you count all the way, this starting at 0, so you're counting this entire thing to bedrock minus by 1 because it's counting 0, so stone would be 0, and stuff like that. So it's at bedrock, let's say dirt. Okay, dirt would be, okay, there would be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1. And currently all these are the same as we had before. However, here comes the interesting part. if we have grass now, and just, actually let's make this stone. And let's make that 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. These are different faces, by the way. In our grass, let's make the sides, so the front, the back, so there'll be 1, 2. So let's just make them all 2. Okay, then the bottom would be 1. Okay, and the top would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the top should be 7, I think. Okay, and if I just quickly go over to Visual Studio Code, go to my chunk script. If I make add texture, I think 2. Okay, because it's counting from 0. Just go Unity quick. Press play. Every single block should be our grass. Okay, we got this one little thing wrong, it seems. Okay, so the top, what did I get wrong here? Okay, top should be 7. I don't know why it isn't working. Oh, yes, because I haven't actually hooked this up properly yet. So let's just go code quick. Let's just scroll down to our add texture. I'm going to delete our 2 and make this world. So we actually use our world script dot block types. Okay, the index is block ID. So block ID, ID, and I'll make block ID in a sec. Okay, dot get texture ID. Okay, and open close brackets P. Okay, let's just quickly make a byte inside our check voxel if statement. So byte, by the way, you can do an int with any byte or create in the code. You can make an int. So let's just make this our block ID is equal to voxel map. Okay, the index of int, and that will be our pos.x. Okay, and remember our pos is a vector 3, so we can do that. Just add a comma and copy all this. X, Y, and Z. Okay, Y and Z. And then a semicolon. And I'm pretty sure if I just scroll up, change voxel map to 2, let's say. Go over to Unity quick. Okay, I press play. And we have a grass texture, and now it's working with 3D textures. Just make sure it's hollow inside, nothing gone wrong. Perfecto. Okay, I'm pretty sure we only have to do a few more things. Let's just go Visual Studio Code very quick. So remember our voxel map. Well, I'm just going to go Command X quick. It's going to have an if statement. If Y is anything smaller than 1, okay, then we have the voxel map equal to 0. So it should do our bedrock. Okay, then we have an else if. So it's basically like an else statement, but it's also merged with an if statement. So of course you can also, by the way, just do an if statement, but so an else if, okay, y is equal to voxel data dot chunk height minus by 1. Okay, and that will be our voxel map x, y, and z. That will be number 3. That will be our grass, I'm pretty sure. So let's make that our 2, our grass. And then finally an else for everything else, which will just be a voxel map. Okay, and I got this a little wrong. So first bedrock, which is number 0, then then grass, that would be 2, and then voxel map x, y, and z, and that should be equal to 1. Okay, let's just quickly test it now. Let's go to Unity, and if we press play, voila, we have layered objects. Eventually we'll have stuff like ores will randomly spawn in the stone and stuff like that. But until now, we can just have this kind of texture. And of course, the more textures you have, the more different blocks can spawn in your world. So let's say you wanted an entire world made of gold, diamonds, and whatever else you want. Let's say netherite blocks, let's say, whatever, anything you like. So you can just change the layers and make a few different blocks. Of course, my sprite sheet, you'd have to extend the sprite sheet and stuff like that. But apart from that, you should be able to easily change the world, make it more layered, whatever you want. Okay, there's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye!